Brendon Hawtin, who joins us on the Punters Lounge Live right now. Brendon, I understand you're in Sydney. How are things with you and also your horse?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm over here, and to be fair, I'm probably doing just as well as the horse. Couldn't be happier, to be honest.
Well, you're not going to be lining up on the track today, though. We're not going to be able to make money off you, per se, by backing you, but simply optimistic. How happy are you with him?
Yeah, look, very, very happy. You come over on Monday night and travelled over well, and we've had a trouble-free week. You know, I wouldn't like to change anything, and he's going into the race a good, healthy horse, and you know, probably my only concern is just the amount of rain that we've had in the last sort of 24 hours. You know, he hadn't raced for 10 months, and although he's had a couple of trials leading into it, there's nothing like race day fitness, and you know, so that's a little bit of a concern. He could just feel the pinch at some stage, but as I say, I can't fault the horse, so whatever he'll be.
How's he developed? He's looked outstanding in his trials, and obviously he's built up a record of winning 3 from 9. He's showing a turn of foot when asked. How's he developed in between his last race start and this preparation?
Yeah, look, he's obviously strengthened up a hell of a lot, which he was always going to with time, being out of his Isabel mare, and you know, it's probably a blessing, to be fair. He was always very immature and that, but he's been given the time, obviously, lightly raced, and you know, his racing manners sort of towards the end of his last campaign were very good. You could ride him anywhere in a race. So he's made real good progress, but he's certainly going as good, if not better now, than sort of what he was 10 months ago, that's for sure.
It's a benchmark 78 today, over $60,000 to the winner. When was a race like this on your radar and plotted?
Well, to be honest, probably for about 12 months, you know. I always sort of said to Kiwi, you know, if we ever get a horse that thinks good enough to go across to Australia, you know, we've got to get him to go at some stage. So I've been waiting to see a while, and I believe he's the right horse. You know, don't get me wrong, it's no doubt his biggest test today, that field today. It's a Saturday race for him with a bit of money, but you know, the plan was to come over here in an off-season, dodge the carnival horses, and so, you know, all due respect to the other runners, but I think it's the right time of year to test the water.
Obviously, just after 4:30, you'll get a better idea of where he sits. Is it likely to be a hit-and-run mission, or, depending on his performance, will you consider campaigning him longer than one race?
Yeah, no, look, he'll, yeah, obviously we'll know a bit more later on this afternoon, but I'd like to sort of give him 3 or 4 runs, whether they be here in Sydney or Melbourne. I don't want to do too much with him, to be fair. I think, you know, this time next year he could be a carnival horse, you know, so we've looked after him up till now, and, you know, we've reaped the rewards. So the plan is to give him sort of 3 or 4 runs, but as I say, we sort of can't plan too much until he races today, and see if he measures up, see if we're still a city horse or whether we've got to go to the country, you know.
It's all very exciting with a horse like him trying to find his level. He's won 3, and can he win some big cash in Australia? Okay, at Te Rapa, where things aren't quite so lucrative, but you've got some nice horse flesh, including a Lines With Me, who is in super form. How's he for today?
Yeah, look, no, very progressive horse. He, once again, we've been very patient with him, and you know, he's racing in great form at the moment. He'll go for a spell after today, win, lose or draw. Excuse me. But you know, one thing's for sure, he sort of can get through the Te Rapa track the way it's going to race today, which is a big bonus. But yeah, look, I think in time to come, he could sort of turn out to be a Easter handicap sort of horse. He's just going to get better with time, and as you say, on his last couple of runs, you'd have to think he's some chance today.
Has he been underrated by many people outside of obviously your own stable? Because look, when he won very well at Te Rapa at 25-1, and he's just in behind Crafty Jess, the video that we're watching from his last start of a few weeks ago. Is he just a tad underrated, do you feel?
Oh, well, I mean, they've still got to go and do it, you know. You know, people talk all stuff all the time, and it's the old story, you're better off letting them do the talking and that, and he started to do that in his last couple of starts. But, yeah, look, it was a very good race 2 starts back, great field, and you know, we were sort of going into the race thinking, well, if we can run in the first 3 or 4, we'll be really happy. And but look, his racing manners are starting to come together now. He can be a bit tardy out of the barriers, and he can get a bit keen and over race in his races. So he's slowly starting to work things out. And I think eventually, once he gets everything right, he'll go through to open class, and I think he'll be good enough to run in some of those nice handicap miles, you know.
Pigeon Switch is a daughter of Manhattan Rain. She's been very, very consistent throughout her career. She's won a couple of races, and she's in the rating 72 Distinction Hotel 1200. She's drawn an inside barrier. I suppose by race 7, Brendon, you'll be hoping that that's still a decent place to be.
Yeah, hopefully. We're dropping back from 1400 to 1200, freshened her up as much as we can. She's certainly been a bit stiff. Certainly she was a bit stiff first up this prep, and her 2 runs since have been full of merit, you know. So she's very seasoned and fit, which I think is going to be a big help today. She likes Tarapa, excuse me, and I think from the draw she'll take a handy position. There's a bit of speed out wide, but I think we might grab the ball by the horns today, and if not lead, she'll be up in the trail. We'll probably try to ride her a little bit pretty the last couple of starts. But I don't know whether they'll be making too much ground today, so we'll certainly be up in the first couple. And as I say, dropping back from 1400 to 1200, she's certainly going to run it out very strong.
Excellent information to get with regards to tactics, pitch and switches in race number 7. You've got Idea from Heaven in the first, Thought Bubble in the third, Animator in the 8th, and Money Trail in the 9th to go with Aligns With Me in pitch and switch. Which of those would be your best at Te Rapa?
I think Money Trail in the last. I mean, his obviously on paper doesn't read too good, but he's back to rating 65, and he's won the over 1200, carrying 59 or 59.5, I think. So, but he's fit, probably drawn the right place for that time of the day, and he's another horse that'll just roll forward, and I'd be disappointed if he couldn't run in the first 3, to be fair.
Excellent stuff. Brendon Hawtin, who is in Sydney today, preparing Simply Optimistic to line up in the 6th at Randwick, also has a book of runners at Te Rapa, and nominating Money Trail, who is $18, race number 9. 18.